Hello and welcome again to another Fuel the Conversation, a podcast for fuel people by fuel people. I am Freddie Riddler, and joining me, as always, Mr. Kyle Sheehan. Kyle, how are you on this crazy start of a Friday morning?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. I heard a lot of commotion downstairs. Sounds like there was some pranks being played. So maybe Christmas elves made it into our building last night, and just having a grand old time for the holidays here at RCC in Bird Island, Minnesota.
Sure did, and there will be some social posts going out about what we just experienced at the RCC building. Awesome. Well, today's podcast is going to be money savings with MOGO. We hear a lot of, and Kyle will talk a lot about this too, MOGO seems expensive. Well, we're here to kind of talk about the money you're going to be saving. And the first subject or agenda item we're going to talk about with money savings is printing tickets. Kyle, tell us what we're comparing today.
I have two tickets here. I have a slip ticket, what the industry calls a blaster printer paper. And then I have an Epson slip ticket, which has multiple copies here, thick stock on the back. And this is been used for decades, just going into an Epson slip printer, and you get your stamp information on here, and the driver sits there and he writes all his information into all the buckets and fills it all out and rips a copy off for the customer, rips a copy off to bring back to the office, and rips another copy off to file away into a filing cabinet. So
that was the weirdest introduction, because it's like a 2-second with MOGO and about a 15-second with the slip ticket paper.
Yeah, this one's nice and simple. You know, you don't have a lot of information. You can print whatever you want on this ticket. You don't need to write anything out. It's just a single copy because everything's electronically held in the back office. And then you have this one, and people, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with these tickets. They've been out, like I said, for decades, and they're still in use today, believe it or not. For those that use MOGO or use a handheld that has a blaster printer, we're still taking these printers out of trucks today. We're still seeing them installed in brand new trucks that are set up. So, you know, they are out in the industry. And one of the things that, you know, Freddie, you mentioned price there at the beginning. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I love to bring up at our trade shows and everywhere else when people talk MOGO is they go, well, man, that's a big price. The first thing I ask them is, what type of printer do you use in your truck right now today? And if they tell me that it's this printer, we can pretty much determine a hard cost return on investment almost immediately. So, you know, throughout the years, I've heard different pricings on these tickets, and I'm sure it all depends on how many you buy and who your supplier is and all that. But the prices on these tickets ranged from about 36 cents a copy all the way up to, I think the highest I ever heard was 63 cents a copy. So I did a little bit of research with our paper provider, the same one that gives us this MOGO paper with the duty to warn on the back and all the nice information so that you can put it into a truck that we provide to our customers as a service. And he came back and told me that this ticket, he just sold a stack of these tickets to a customer in the United States. He said the price per ticket was 49 cents. So 49 cents for 1,000 of them. Wow. So you spend $490 for 1,000 tickets. That's 1,000 deliveries, right? That's one ticket per delivery. So we know the cost of our paper. We know there's about 550 tickets in a roll. We sell a roll for $11 right now. And that's the thing too. Paper prices increased. It doesn't matter if you use this one. It doesn't matter if you use this one. Paper prices are going higher the more technology that's coming out to reduce the amount of paper that needs to be in the world. So our ticket costs 2 cents. So you're talking per delivery here. This one costing us 49 cents per delivery. This one, if you print one copy and you save the electronic copy and you don't print anything more on that delivery, 2 cents. So we did some numbers, Freddie, and I'm sure we might get some corrections on this, but we kind of averaged out what we thought based off our experience in the industry, what the average number of deliveries per day a driver does. And what number did we come up with?
What number? Well, I have 5,000 invoices per year, but what we came up with was about 20 deliveries per day for one driver, just one truck, 20 per day. But we we kind of wanted the whole year savings in there, and it was 5,000. And again, you might do more than 20, you might do less than 20. Then it's winter, summer. We're just looking at an average, but about 5,000 invoices per truck per year, and it was 2,500.
Yep. So you get a cost savings of $2,500 in paper alone.
That's crazy.
That's just so that gives you just a hard ROI just on paper. You get a return on investment in 2.5 years with using the MOGO system.
That's crazy.
Just moving, not even the MOGO system. So I'm going to go back. It's just using a blaster electronically generated invoice versus this. And there's so many more benefits than just the cost savings on here as well. When you print this ticket, you're stuck with whatever the printer provider gave you for all the buckets that you put on your ticket. Mm-hmm. You want to add a bucket on here for delivery instructions, right? This one only has sold to, delivered to. You want to add a bucket to print your delivery instructions from your back office software. You have to redo that design, go back and repurchase tickets, and then you're going to want to use up every one of these ones that cost 49 cents. You want to add delivery instructions onto this invoice from MOGO? We put one switch on in the back office, and the next day, all your tickets start printing the exact information that you want on them, which is truly a huge time saver and money saver. Not having to go back and redesign and spend your time redesigning a ticket, and then spend your time reprogramming your ticket printer to print out the information you want. One flip of a switch and you got exactly what you need.
Yeah, and I'll weigh in on that too. Kyle kept saying printing in the back office. Remember, with a slip ticket printer, you have to have two printers essentially. You got to have a printer in the office to print on the slip tickets. Then you take them from the slip ticket printer and you bring them in the truck, and then you have to print them on them again. And the problem with inside the back office with those slip tickets is it's dot matrix. They're going extinct. Yep. Dot matrix printing is going extinct. We have so many customers call us in a panic saying, my Oki Data 349 QTR is dead. What do we do? And we say, well, eBay. No one's building them anymore. And of course, low demand or high demand with a product that's not in production anymore, they're expensive. People are paying so much money for a out of stock, outdated printer just to get your trucks running. Because if you don't have a slip ticket, well, I guess you could put just a blank slip ticket in a slip ticket printer to continue pumping, but there's no information on there. And then we're going to kind of get into that in a minute about the information that prints on there. Then what do you got to do? They still have to manually figure all this stuff out. But remember, when Kyle kept talking about that, you got to have two printers essentially for every single delivery.
Oki data printers are kind of becoming like the baseball market, right? If you collect them, you might increase your value on your printer. And hey, in 10 years, you might be able to retire selling an Oki data printer.
I'm going to start collecting them.
just start collecting them. I know. Awesome. Ben Carlson in our office, we made a tradition in the sales department. What was that? 4 or 5 years ago now.
5 years ago, yeah.
Where we got out of that. We were not printing tri-copy purchase orders. We moved to an electronic system, and I think Ben Carlson, shout out to Ben Carlson in our tech department. He's just biding his time before he can go recreate that scene from The Office of destroying that printer in our parking lot.
We had a sale that if you sent us a picture of you breaking a dot matrix printer and recorded it and sent us the video, I forget the details of it. We gave you some money off of something. So yeah, we might have to pull that back out again because that was a lot of fun. So I'm gonna talk about a podcast we just did. And you'll catch that one too in one of our Fuel the Conversation podcasts with David Stewart. We talk about forecasting efficiencies, and this is another time-saving, money-saving topic we want to talk about. Dispatching tickets. His value he gave us was shocking, and I had to ask Kyle, did I really hear what he said? Pre-DM and electronic technology forecasting tickets. I'm talking print the slip tickets, rip them all off, put them on the desk, pick the stack up, give it to your dispatcher, sort them all out, put them in the routes. Then you flip through them, see who needs a delivery, who doesn't need a delivery. And then you give it to the driver in route and sequence order. The driver reshuffles them again because, he's just looking at a route and sequence. It's probably not the right since day one. and then the driver goes out and does the delivery. There's more money saving on that side of it, but pause right there. 2 to 3 hours someone would take a day doing all that. With DM and just the DM piece in RCC and our degree day, fill by day, fill by week, manual tickets, all the technology, all of it paperless, electronic copies of everything, 15 to 20 minutes a day. I don't know what you guys pay your dispatchers, but that is a huge time saving. When we were talking about doing this podcast, I told Kyle, I want to concentrate on just the paper alone because we want to show that 2.5 years, you're going to pay for the MOGO unit just on paper. But let's throw in now DM. And again, we're going to get to more of the tickets and what the drivers have to do. Ton of time. I don't know about you guys, but nobody has time for this stuff anymore. We all have families. We have work to get done. It's getting colder. We don't want to sit and sort tickets anymore.
Well, I mean, even owner operators, if you can, so you mentioned how much you're paying dispatchers, but we know that not everybody out there can afford or has the ability to buy a dispatcher that's going to route and schedule your drivers throughout the day. So if you're there and you're the person that's doing the routing, you're also the person that's going out and making the deliveries. You're the one that's getting the call on Thanksgiving morning right before football kickoff to go and fill somebody that ran out of gas cooking their turkey. If you're that person, take all that time that you spend organizing tickets in the morning and drinking your coffee, condense that to 15 minutes. And if you're the owner operator, that means you can get 2 or 3 more deliveries in a day. You make that much more money. You increase your bottom line, you increase your deliveries throughout the day. You get to buy your kids that extra special Christmas present that they're asking for this year. The Lululemon, whatever else it is, that's $150.
Everything's $100. But yeah, then that's we're trying to save time. Kyle and I we're working on a lot of things here in the next few months about proving that the system works and proving that it's going to save you time and money. And we're really excited that this podcast is the kickoff of that. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you're checking emails because there's a lot more to come with money saving, time saving, with all of these different topics. But Kyle, let's talk about the information the drivers have on their tablets and the no work they need to do to print it and calculate it. I mean, let's talk about them not having to call the office to say, where does Kyle live again? And what's his price? What's his tax? Talk to us about the money saving, time saving in the driver's seat.
Yep. I mean, hey, I have a tablet right here and I have customer data right there on it. And
of course you do.
one click of a button right here. And I have all of that customer account information right at my fingertips. I mean, you got balances. So you have somebody come up to you on the street and just say, hey, I need a delivery. You're saving that amount of time that it would take to collect that money for somebody that is not a good payer. You can collect it right there, or you can refuse the delivery right there. I mean, you can go and see how much contract information is left. I mean, how many times you get asked towards the end of that contract season, hey, how much do I have left? I'm looking ahead to March and it's looking really cold. And I'm just curious, did I plan right? And you can say, oh yeah, after this delivery, you got 150 gallons left. So you have all that information. We send history down to the tablets, right? So you can take a historical view there. And if the customer asks, well, what have my last 3 deliveries been? There you go. They're right there. The other big thing that we send down is the equipment. I mean, it's instant data validation as well. We preach as a software company that bad data in is going to return you bad data out, bad results out. It's going to cause confusion in the office. The people that are in the field looking at the physical equipment, the physical pieces that are out there, the physical house, they can add the notes directly into the system, comes in the office. And now if they added in a brand new garage and put a new propane heater into that garage, boom, you're not going to run that customer out. Driver recorded that note, office saw it. They're going to go ahead and recalculate that customer not using any of those previous deliveries so you don't mistakenly run them out on January 1st. You see a piece of equipment and you look at the serial number and you walk out to the tank and that's not the serial number on the tank that he's filling. And oh, by the way, it says 250 gallons in my handheld, but that's a 500 gallon tank. So it gives the ability to clean up data so that when you run reports, when you're looking at KPIs, when you're looking at how efficient are we, why are we getting to stops early, why are we getting to stops late, why are we running people out, you have that cleanup of data that's put into the power of your driver so that he can validate that directly to that account, which is it's leaps and bounds, and it's not always a measurable thing. Like we talked paper, right? Your cost savings on paper is a hard cost. How do you put a price on clean data? How do you put a price on improved efficiencies? Now you can put a price on that. I know you can. But when we're just talking about it, it's a little bit more of a gray area trying to get in and really look at how can you improve this.
Yeah, it really is. And sometimes you just can't measure success or successful products. And when you have drivers that are, because not all drivers like to call the office, and not the office don't like to call the drivers. It's just that it is what it is. And when they're not having to call in, or the office staff having to call the driver, it's a win for everybody. Everyone has their job to do. And as long as they get their job done and they get it done early enough to enjoy the precious family time that we all have, it's a win for everybody. And at the end of the day, if the owner or the C-level or the corporate or however you're structured your office, they're saving some money, another win for everybody. So it's fun to hear those things. And the last piece that I want to talk about with money saving is just hand keying and tickets. When I started years ago, handhelds were just coming out. And in fact, that's when we kind of got our feet wet a little bit with handhelds and the ones we interfaced with. And I remember the horror stories of giving the CSR a stack of tickets that they don't have to open up a batch and key the stuff in. And they could read Tom's handwriting perfectly, and then Freddie and Kyle give them their tickets, and they can't see if it's a 0 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or a 5. They can't read notes that are on there. And it was constant, what was this or what was that? Or if the driver didn't tax it out correctly, or if the driver put the wrong price. There was so much room for human error, and we all have it. There's human error in everything we do every day. And we eliminated that human error by allowing the driver just to say pump, let the system calculate everything, create the invoice, send it back to RCC. It comes into a batch. All the CSR, all they do now is they look at the totals, make sure it all reconciles fine, they post it. Mm-hmm. It's hard. Again, how much time do they save? We're going to find out, because the time it took them to take the stack of tickets, create a batch, key it all in, reconcile it. If something was wrong, adjust it, reconcile again and post, versus review and post, has to be just a time crunch.
Yep.
On saving.
One of the comments we had from a recent MOGO install this year for an owner that also drives, he said he absolutely loves the product because he doesn't have to compute tax anymore. He was always so worried manually computing taxes and putting that tax amount right here that he calculated something wrong, that he was off. And taxes are a big deal. They're not a big deal all throughout the year until you get to tax season, right? And then you find out, do I have to pay the government more, or did I do what I was supposed to throughout the year and I'm sitting in a pretty good spot? So him not having to calculate those taxes and automatically knowing that this is a taxable customer, a non-taxable customer, this is the rate for this municipality, state, and federal tax that all get onto this invoice. I don't have to calculate 3 to 5 individual tax rates and add them all up, and then only to notice that for the last 7 months, I've been calculating them wrong, and I've been off 25 cents per delivery. That's the $2,500 savings we had right there is all out the window because you're paying that back in taxes because you calculated them incorrectly. So, not only from the office being able to understand and electronically not have to input anything into the system, but from the driver standpoint, and taking pressure off of a driver, to me, is one of the best things about this job. I absolutely love hearing those things. It makes me feel like we are providing a service that is bettering somebody's day. And that is I go home at night and those are the feel goods. Those are the feel good stories, the ones that keep us going, the ones that keep pushing us forward and saying, we're doing the right thing. Let's keep this up. Let's keep going forward.
Yep, I agree. Good information all the way around. And I hope that our viewers or listeners, whatever source or platform you're either watching this or listening to us, I hope you take some of that away, because we're not just offering a solution for a product, but we're also trying to get you to save time and money with our product and give you that user experience that just does make you feel good and enjoy what you do and enjoy what you're working in.
Yeah.
So yeah, any questions at all, you can always reach sales at rccbi.com. Let us know if you have any questions about anything Kyle or myself said throughout this podcast. But thank you very much, Kyle. Anything to close on?
Yeah, if you're using one of these tickets, you'll get a handheld. You talk to anybody out there. It really is one of those no-brainer business decisions. Spend the money now. You're going to make it up. You're going to save it in the long run. You're going to become more profitable. Even if it's not MOGO, if it's something else out there,
just get something.
Get a handheld in there. Stop that. Stop all of this manual processing and manual work. You're not going to regret that decision.
Absolutely. Well, Kyle, thanks a lot, and we will see you on our next podcast.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for joining Kyle and Freddie's podcast, Fuel the Conversation.
A podcast for fuel people by fuel people. We really hope you enjoyed today's topics and you found them interesting, and we hope that you pulled some value out of our conversation today.
To hear more podcasts from Kyle, myself, and special guests, you can catch us on Spotify, Amazon Music, or the iTunes Store.
To find out more information on RCC, you can visit our website, www.rccbi.com. You can also find us on Facebook under Rural Computer Consultants, also under LinkedIn under Rural Computer Consultants, or go ahead and give us a follow on Twitter at RCCInc79.
If you'd like to contact us directly, email us at sales@rccbi.com.
This is Kyle signing off.
And this is Freddie.
Until next time.